Good morning, everybody. BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Lakers are playing the Wizards tonight again. This time it's in Washington. The game will be at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Another one of them early games we hate so very much. And we won't have Anthony Davis. We will not have Anthony Davis for this basketball game because he strained his ab of some sort, some type of stomach injury. And he's going to be reevaluated next week. A full week from now. So if he's good to go by, then we'll probably miss him for about 4 games, including this one. I think that's how that works, or something like that. And he'll be back for the Golden State game, for which will be our home return after this 6-game road trip. Your Lakers are 2-1 on the road trip right now after dropping a game against the Philadelphia 76ers, who've really been beating everybody, to be honest with you. They're on a nice little winning streak for themselves. And we didn't help ourselves at all in that basketball game. The way that we played, the way that we approached it, our issues on both sides of the floor. Of course, Anthony going down. It seemed to me that we were running things for Anthony, even though Anthony wasn't on the floor, and turning the ball over because of it. We ran Bronny James in the first quarter. He crashed and burned. It was just terrible, man. It was terrible basketball all the way around. And really, that's the story. I think Dalton Knecht was the only person who was accused of having a good game, and I thought he was horrible defensively. But at least he hit 5 threes in that game, 8 of 13 for 24 points. So that was a welcome sight. Hopefully this will be the start of him really stepping into his own, but he's been in such a slump that it's really been tough on him and tough on us as a team. So hopefully he can continue to find his confidence on the road. But yeah, man, this Wizards team is not very good, to say the least. They are 6-40, the very worst basketball team in the National Basketball Association by record. And they're also missing some people, which is going to make this really interesting. Alex Sarr is a game-time decision. And we know that he's the 2nd overall pick in the draft this year. Many thought should have been the 1st. But, he ended up with the Wizards number 2. And it would be great if he doesn't play tonight. I will say that. It'll be great if he don't. Malcolm Brogdon's out. Marvin Bagley is out. And Saddiq Bey are out. And I do expect those people to be traded if at all possible. It just makes sense for the Wizards to do something like that, given their timeline. But we'll see if it happens. I don't know. The Lakers, of course, Jalen Hood-Schifino is always out. Lakers just hiding him for whatever reason. Gabe Vincent is a game-time decision. Dorian Finney-Smith is a game-time decision. Braun and Rui are game-time decisions. I think they'll try to play as many of those people as possible. We want to capture this win. I was listening to Trevor Lane say he thinks that the Lakers should probably punt the New York game. I think that punting one of the games that you're probably going to lose anyway is probably the way to go. Letting people rest in the New York game and trying to put all your chips to the top of the line for this one. Capture the victory, secure it, because there are going to be games throughout the course of AD missing where we're going to lose. So we might as well just buy rest from our stars and our starters somewhere on this road trip, especially with the schedule being condensed as it is. We're going to have to come back a day early from the All-Star break to make up for the Charlotte game that we didn't have during the fires. So it's just going to be a lot of condensed stuff coming up for the Lakers. The schedule is looking even tougher, given the fact that we got to make up those 2 lost games. So, yeah, the Wizards. I did homework on the Wizards, as I do homework on everybody. They're so awful, man. Every game they're in is a terrible blowout. They're a miserable basketball team. They're on a 15-game losing streak. They're doing it on purpose so that they can tank. It's the way to go. When you want a 1st overall pick, you want to throw as many young lottery picks on the floor as possible and just let them run all day long. It's the way to do it. And they're going to lose, but they're going to grow. And you're going to add players to them that are of high level because you can draft that way if you suck well enough to win the lottery. So they're doing it the right way, but for the time being, it's a miserable season to watch if you're trying to do homework on them or if you're a fan. I mean, it's just not really worth watching every night unless you just want to see the growth of young players who are going to ultimately lose. And so that's really what it is, man. They've lost 15, as I said, in a row. The last game being against the Toronto Raptors, 106-82. Miserable basketball game for them. Um, they shot 16% from behind the arc, 38% from the field. You know, they did win the boards, which is something to know. 43-36, 17 assists. You know that's a bad thing. 27 turnovers off 32 points conceded off those turnovers. It was just a real tank job in Toronto. As Scotty Barnes went for Kobe, 24 points, 1 block, 1 steal on 10 of 19 shooting from the field. Davion Mitchell was 4 of 4, 2 of 2 from behind the arc, 10 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. I really do want the Lakers to pay attention to Davion Mitchell and try to get him if they can before he continues to rise. See those 9 assists? That's what we're talking about. And he's off night, one of the best defenders out there. Exactly what we need. It probably comes at a discount since nobody really is paying attention to him. Ochai Agbaji had a good game, 12 points, 3 steals. He's really coming along. That dude's going to be something soon. RJ Barrett had 11 points, quiet night, but a plus 33. I mean, what can I say, man? The Toronto Raptors just jumped all over this team. They had 8 players in double figures. Bruce Brown had 10 points and 3 steals off the bench. Orlando Robinson had 10.6 boards. Jamal Sheed had 10 points, 4 assists. So they just walked all over the Washington Wizards. Kuzma had a pretty solid game, 19 points, 10 rebounds. But the turnovers were just nasty, man. Everybody had turnovers on this team. I mean, even the role players had turnovers, stars. Everybody had turnovers. 27 as a unit. So, yeah, that was what it was. Justin, Julian's brother, Sham Penny, plays for the Wizards. He had a 10-point game against the Toronto Raptors, 12 actually, off the bench, and 5 of 7 shooting. And pay attention to Corey Kispert. He's been on a nice little roll, 4 of 11 from the field. 0 of 5 from behind the arc, though. Not a great shooting night for Corey, but he's been getting into the lane, laying the ball up a lot. Had a couple steals there as well, so 2 steals for him. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Just pay attention to their bench. You know, they have some guys that can really hurt you. Bub Carrington's down there, lottery pick. Patrick Baldwin, the guy they got from the Wizards. From the Warriors a couple years ago in the Jordan Poole trade. Rashawn Holmes trying to raise his trade value. They're throwing him out there, hoping that he can do enough to make somebody want him. So, you know, you got to deal with that. Kyle Kuzma's really in a nice groove right now because he's trying to get traded. Jonas Valanciunas, the same thing. So I'd imagine those are the guys that really try to hurt us. Bilal Coulibaly is developing. He's a good player. Kind of dealing with some injury stuff. He had a bad shooting night for that one. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from behind the arc for 8 points, 1 steal, 1 assist. So he's struggling with injuries, to be honest with you. He's kind of playing through them, I'd imagine. He's out every couple of weeks. He's out with something. And some of that has to do with the team he plays for, I'm sure, but it just seems like they're just running him out there not so 100% healthy. So, game before that, they played against the Dallas Mavericks, another miserable basketball game for the Washington Wizards. They had Clay do Clay things. He had like 7 of 7 threes in the first quarter or something like that. Just craziness from Klay Thompson. And that was the story there. The Wizards shot 41% from the field, 29% from behind the arc. They did not win on the boards, 45-51, although both teams gave up a lot of offensive rebounds. The Wizards gave up 13. The Mavericks gave up 14. So keep an eye open for the offensive glass there with the Wizards. God, Dallas had 39 assists. My goodness, man. Yeah, that's some real passing around. 11 turnovers for the Wiz. 24 fast break points for Dallas to 9 for the Wizards. So it was just another one of those miserable basketball games. You can't really look at too much on this one. Keontae George, another player. Keyshawn George, another one you got to pay attention to. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from behind the arc, and that one not very good. Kuzma had an off night, 3 of 11 from the field, 0 of 3 from behind the arc for 7 points. Corey Kispert had 15. He's going steady. Jonas Valanciunas had a 4 of 7 from the field type of game, 9 points, 2 assists, 5 boards. A lot of garbage time. Vukcevic, I'm not familiar with this player, but he was 4 of 8 from the field for 10 points. So maybe he'll get some playing time tonight. Maybe we want to throw somebody on him. Justin Champagnie in 12 minutes of play had some really good production. 6 points, 1 steal, 4 assists, and 6 boards in 12 minutes. He's a guy. He's a guy. I don't know if they're gonna identify that he can be best utilized with more minutes and maybe raise his trade value in the last couple of weeks. But I would imagine Justin Champagnie should be somebody that someone wants to target to get off of that team as a role player. It's the type of stuff that you just hopefully you can strike it rich. That's the kind of thing that you're hoping will happen. You just go grab a guy like Justin Champagnie, and voila, now you got a role player. You know what I mean? That's not making any money and helping you a lot. So I don't know if that's Lakers have been rumored to want to do things with the Wizards. I would say, hey, if you're going to bring me Jonas Valanciunas, could you throw in Justin Champagnie just to see if you can get a role player that's better than some of the stuff that we're running out there, if I'm being completely honest with you. Richaun Holmes, 4 of 5 from the field, 9 points in that game, so that wasn't a bad game for him returning to Dallas. Jordan Poole, 6 of 15, 3 of 9 from behind the arc, off night for JP. Bilal Coulibaly, 6 of 15 from the field, 2 of 6 from behind the arc. So, yeah, they just shot poorly, as we saw in the stats there. So, that's the end of that conversation. The Dallas beat them bad, 130-108. Before that, the Washington Wizards had another miserable basketball game. Actually, this one was a bit closer, though. This one's a bit closer against the Phoenix Suns, 119-109. This was probably the most competitive game they had. Kyle Kuzma went for 30. 12 points, 12 out of 24 from the field, 5 of 9 from behind the arc. For 30 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. So that was a good game for him. Jordan Poole had 19 points, 6 steals, and 10 assists. Remember, Jordan Poole is a very lethal steals player. Lethal. And I've been telling people this for here off and on. Obviously, we've seen this team already. We said it then. I'll say it now. Jordan Poole is not the guy to just pass the ball around laissez-faire. He will take it from you. And he had 6 against the Phoenix Suns. So that's something to think about. Jonas Valanciunas had 16 points, 2 assists on 6-11 from the field, 2 of 2 from behind the arc. So his 3-ball was falling there. That's a pretty interesting nugget for the Lakers. I think it's worth noting that Jordan Poole was 5 of 10 from behind the arc in this game, by the way. Yeah, and Kuzma was 5 of 9. So that's why it was so competitive, because they really got something out of those two. Alex Sarr, 11 points, 2 blocks, 1 steals, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 4 from behind the arc. He really is inefficient early on. He's a rookie, of course, but one thing about Alex Sarr, he's going to break some shots. That's what he's going to do for certain. Keyshawn George had 5 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 of 5 from the field against the Suns. So that's kind of how that went. Kevin Durant went 11 for 19, 29 points, 4 assists. Of course, it's regular Kevin Durant stuff. Nick Richards had a big game in that one. 20 points, 19 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, 1 block, 1 assist. So Nick Richards, that was his breakout game with the Suns. Something to think about. Bradley Beal had 20 in that one. 4 or 6 from behind the arc. Trey Jones had Tyus, his brother, had 6 of 11 from the field, 16 points, 1 of 5 from the 3. Devin Booker, very cold in this game. Very, very cold Devin Booker game. 0 of 8 from behind the arc, 5 of 18 from the field for 18 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 assists. But just like De'Aaron Fox, as we mentioned in the previous game, he ended up walking away with 8 of 8 from the free throw line and still gets his numbers. So that's how superstars are. When they have cold nights, they end up getting to the line, make all their free throws, and they still walk away with decent stats. But this was an awful night for Devin Booker, and it catered greatly to why this was actually a reasonably close basketball game. So that's really what it was. Phoenix did win, though, and we move on. And before that, they played the Los Angeles Clippers, 110-93. I mean, the Clippers took care of them, of course, and Kawhi Leonard on the floor, so they weren't going to beat Kawhi. Wizards are never going to beat Kawhi Leonard, man. It's never going to happen. James Harden went for 17, 13, and 12. Triple-double for James Harden. 6 turnovers, but that's still a triple-double. Kawhi went for 15, 1 steal, 1 assist, 7 rebounds. 7 of 16 shooting. He actually wasn't that good of a shooter that game. 1 of 5 from behind the arc. The eye test told me he was playing better than he was. Derrick Jones Jr., 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 5 from behind the arc for 19 points, 2 steals, 8 rebounds. Very good player. Norman Powell, 22 points, 3 steals, 3 assists against the Wizards on 9 of 18 shooting from the field, 2 of 10 from behind the arc. Not a warm night for him. Mo Bamba played very well. Another center the Lakers gave away, 4-6 from the field, 3 of 3 from behind the arc for 13 points, 5 blocks, 1 assist, and 6 rebounds. Rob Pelinka. Amir Coffey, 10 points off the bench as well, on 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from behind the arc. So that was the production for the Clippers. They just, 7 players in double figures. Zubats had 11, 2, and 9. 3 offensive rebounds, 5 of 10 from the field, that kind of thing. And the Wizards were Jordan Poole game. 24 points, 2 steals, 9 assists. His assist numbers are up there. 6 of 19 from the field, 4 of 12 from behind the arc. Not very good shooting night, but again, 8-8 from the free throw line, got his numbers. Bilal Coulibaly, 5 of 13, 1 of 7 from behind the arc for 15 points, 3 steals. Again, another inefficient night for the youngsters of the Wizards. Between Sarr and Coulibaly, they're going to break shots. So that's just what it is. Bub Carrington, same thing, 4 of 13 from the field, 2 of 8 from behind the arc for 12 points, 2 steals, 5 assists. They're going to break shots, man. Alex Sarr, double-double, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 6 of 14 shooting, 2 of 7 from behind the arc. Break shots. So that's what you can count on with the Wizards. Their young players, particularly the ones they want to grow with, they're not very efficient. That's going to be the thing they're going to have to figure out as those guys grow. Are they ever going to become efficient, or is this who they are? And if this is who they are, they should probably break them up. Sarr, Coulibaly, Carrington. If they're going to brick shots like this, period, they need to find somebody in the draft that's very efficient. Or they're going to be a bricking team. Even when they develop 5 years from now, it's just going to be a team that they brick a lot of shots. So I'm not really sure. It's still early. Obviously, these kids are developing, but I'm not certain. If I just don't know. And that's what it is. Kuzma also bricks shots in this one, 3 of 12 from the field there. Not good. 7 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds. So this is an off shooting night, as usual for the Wizards. They are a poor shooting team all the time. 34% from the field, 23% from behind the arc on 46 attempts. They're not a good team. It is what it is. 16 turnovers for them, 18 for the Clippers. That kind of thing. 49 rebounds to Clippers 55, but again, double-digit offensive boards once again for these Wizards. They had 14 of them in this one, 11 for the Clippers. So be careful with them on the offensive glass. If they can hurt you somewhere, especially without AD, it's there. So we're going to have to gain rebound as a team tonight to assure that we don't have any trouble with this team. And the game before that was against the Los Angeles Lakers, believe it or not. We were the team that saw them 5th game ago, if that's how you word that. And, of course, we beat them 111-88. And, Anthony Davis was out there, of course. We had 29, 5, and 16 from the guy who's hurt, 4 blocks there. Braun had a triple-double. Austin had 16 and 8 on bad shooting, 1 of 8 from behind the arc. This was a Dorian Finney-Smith game, if we remember, 4-6 from the from the 3. Jackson Hayes had a 3 of 3 game for 8 points, 2 blocks. So it's a very different game, man. Very different game because at the end of the day, we don't have Anthony Davis. So that we don't have Anthony Davis makes this a very, very difficult matchup based on the lack of size and the fact that they're probably going to have Alex Sarr out there. So, and of course, Valanciunas. So that's what it is. In that game, Jordan Poole went for 15 points, 7 rebounds. Coulibaly went for 17 points, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds. So we don't want Coulibaly to continue to have confidence against us. Bub Carrington missed shots, 1 of 8 from the field, 1 of 4 from behind the arc. 2 steals, though. Keyshawn George, 8 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Kispert had 15 against us as well. Valanciunas had 8.7 rebounds. So, this is how it went in the last one against the Wizards. They shot poorly, as usual. 35% from the field, 25% from the 3. They had 13 turnovers to our 11. We had 58 points in the paint to their 42. So, a lot of that's going to be different without AD. But at the end of the day, the Wizards, based on the homework we're doing here, are a terrible shooting basketball team. They're awful. They get their boards, but they're god-awful shooting. They're one of the most inefficient teams you'll ever see. Definitely the most inefficient team in the NBA today. So hopefully that continues on their home court. They did play last night, if I'm not mistaken, against the Toronto Raptors. They did. And, of course, tonight, I don't know. They got young kids, so there's probably not dead legs per se. But They should be a little exhausted. I think our team is probably mentally exhausted off of the strength of losing to the Philadelphia 76ers and having AD go down and everything, with the trade deadline coming up in a couple of days. So I'd imagine that our team is a bit tired, but we're going to have to come in and really take care of business against a bad Washington Wizards team, secure the victories that we can get, because the schedule is about to take a turn for the worst, and we know that. Now, we have won a lot of games. 3 of our last, say, 10 games or something like that. So we've been balling, but of course, without Anthony Davis, we're not a good team, and we know it. It's not hard to tell, but we do have to run smarter offense than we did against the Philadelphia 76ers. Try to run stuff that caters to the talent that's on the floor. Get Rui Hachimura about 12, 13 attempts. This is his old building. He played for the Wizards for like 3 years. They didn't give him a lot of opportunities. He should be fired up for this one. I want to see a big Rui night tonight. If we get a big Rui night tonight, we shouldn't have any trouble. Dalton Connect, let's build on the momentum of him shooting well in the last game. Let's look for him. Bron Austin. Got to look for those guys tonight to get the most out of your unit, because the rest of your players, for the most part, are not consistent scorers or just not known to score at all. Guys like Max Christie, is he going to show up tonight on the offensive end? Defensively, he's going to show up. Offensively, is it going to be a brick night that can teeter the level of scoring efficiency you have, obviously, if he's hitting shots? So we need to score 120 points, 118 points every night, and we're going to have to find a way to do that if we want to get victories without Anthony Davis. So that's going to be the key, man. Our offense, 104 points scored on the Philadelphia 76ers. They didn't have Paul George, Joel Embiid. That was embarrassing, man. Just like the Dallas game that we lost when they didn't have their stars. So we got to get our act together, man. I'm not really pleased with how we've looked in either of the last 2 games. Charlotte, AD went up for an amazing amount of 43 points, 23 rebounds, and we just kind of skated by because everybody else played pedestrian ball. In the 76er game, our defense was about as bad as it's been in weeks, although we did miss a lot of our defensive players, so that gives you the excuse. But we saw what it looks like when we don't have it, and we're just a bad team, man. Luckily enough, we will have Vanderbilt back tonight. I'm sure he's still on minutes restriction, but I would advise the Lakers to try to utilize him a bit more than maybe they plan to if they want to try to secure this victory. And we'll see what happens, man. But that's really what it is. Now, as far as what this is telling me, I'll take a look at the other site that I often look at, tell me what the jersey will be and all of this. Lakers are wearing yellow tonight, and the Wizards are wearing the district city jerseys with the district alternate floor, which I don't actually like at all. I think it's ugly personally. But that's what we're going to be seeing tonight. And on this side of town, pertaining to the injury report, nothing's changed. It's the same injury report. Game time decision for Gabe Vincent. That's somebody I hope gets us to play tonight. We've missed him out there defensively for sure. Dorian Finney-Smith is dealing with like some type of shoulder contusion, I guess. They may try to rest him for the Wizards game. All the more reason why Vanderbilt should probably get it like 20 minutes tonight rather than the 16 or whatever they want to give him. I'd up it a little bit. And, nothing's changed on this side of the injury report. Sometimes they show me different stuff, but hopefully Rui can go, because we're really going to suck if we don't have Rui's offense. Although I can argue we're a much better team defensively without him, but you're going to need him to score about 15, 20 points, in my opinion. There's a lot of different ways the Lakers can win this basketball game without playing well, because that's how bad the Wizards are. But we don't want to paint the picture that just because people are not great that they can't beat you. Our team is not great, especially without Anthony Davis. And given the fact that we just had a letdown against the Philadelphia 76ers, I would imagine the Lakers, whoever's going to be in uniform, is going to be intentional on playing very, very energetic basketball, is what I would say. You can't have an embarrassing basketball game against the Sixers and then turn around and get stomped out by the Wizards. Problem is, and I'm just going to tell y'all how I feel, the problem is this team is the exact type of team that lets something like that happen. Because if you look back on the schedule, when we lost to the Orlando Magic by 1 in an embarrassing basketball game, then we got turned around and got stumped out by the Denver Nuggets. Then we turned around and got stumped out by the Phoenix Suns, even worse. So this team does have an ability within themselves to lay down, roll over when they're getting stomped out and not really fight. And that lack of fight is what concerns me about a game like tonight, where you got a Wizards team that wants nothing more than just get a big victory You know what I mean? Just to feel better about themselves, just to see what it looks like when they celebrate something. A tanking team does not need to win only 6 games all year long. You know what I mean? They can win a 7th game. And against a depleted, bad, structured Laker team without Anthony Davis, yeah, they're probably going to want to win the game. So I don't think that they can, the way they shoot the ball, beat anybody in this league. But I don't know that we can really beat anybody with some of the stuff we're running out there either. We play like we did against Philly, you ain't beating anybody. And so that's really what it comes down to, man. We did not address our situation without Anthony Davis very well. When he went down, we looked like we didn't know what we were doing. It looked like our game plan just went out the window because he wasn't out there. And that versatility lacking really will get you beat in this league a lot of the time. You got to be able to audible into other stuff. And we showed a lack of basketball aptitude, in my opinion. I just didn't think we were all that bright out there against the Sixers, and they took advantage. And now we get to sit here with that loss as we consider what's next for us without Anthony Davis. So that's really what our thoughts are on this channel in regards to this team. I'd love to see Christian Koloko get the start tonight instead of Jackson Hayes. I like Jackson to a degree, but I just don't think I can trust him defensively very much. He did have 2 blocks against the Sixers, but minus 19. I just think Koloko gives us a much sturdier presence down there. Cam Reddish needs some minutes, man. I know we gave him 18 minutes of garbage time in the last one. We need to work him back into the equation, JJ, especially without AD. You need him. And if you're going to have games where you're not going to have no defense on the floor, and him sitting down is not going to make a whole lot of sense for you, you need him. You need Cam Reddish. So whatever's going on with Cam Reddish, they need to make it right because they need him out there tonight. And I'm not down on Bronny James. You know, at the end of the day, man, you threw him out there. It's almost like how they threw out Jalen Hood-Schifino last year. It's like, oh, we're struggling. Yeah, go out there and guard literally Tyrese Maxey. And he gets cooked by Tyrese Maxey. Great defenders get cooked by Tyrese Maxey. Why the hell you throw Bronny on him? So it's like you set the young fella up for failure. And then you let the national media talk crap about him. And then after that, you don't play him again for 6 games. I don't want to do that with Bronny. Can we run him tonight? It's the Wizards. Run him. Run him just like you did, but not in the same sequence. Give him some garbage time minutes. They will be available to us one way or another. I say put him in with a bit more intentional aggression, with him not necessarily controlling the basketball, turning it over, not necessarily shooting the 3 ball, but with things having him drive at the rim. Off ball cuts, driving at the rim. Don't have him guarding the best player. Put him on somebody that's slow. You know what I mean? Let's set the young fella up for success, and let's not deviate from his development just because he came out and played poorly in circumstances that were otherwise set up for him to fail any damn way. Okay? That's what I got to say about Bronny James. Run him again. The only way you're going to get these kids to feeling confident is to have confidence in them when they're not necessarily playing well. That's why I don't agree with how we're doing Jalen Hood-Schifino. He needs to be out there. He needs to be out there getting better. Just like the Wizards are running their guys and they're bricking every night and they're playing bad every night, but they keep running them, right? 4 years from now, them dudes are going to be good. One way or another, they're all going to be good. Why? Because of the experience. It's the same thing I said about Max Christie. We refused to use him last year. Now he's kind of trying to get his footing now. We throw him out there. Some nights he's good, some nights he's not. You needed that happening last year when you weren't so reliant upon him, so that when you come around this year, he could be more ready. It hurts you in the long run not letting these kids run and overreacting to the mistakes that they make when they're 21 years old. So that's my thing on Bronny James. Run him back out there, man. Call up Jalen Hood-Schifino. He should be on the floor tonight. He's going up against somebody just like him in Bub Carrington. There should be no reason he's sitting. And I know he ain't hurt. Stop telling me that boy hurt. He ain't hurt. So that's really what I got to say. I think Jalen Hood-Schifino and Bronny James should get some minutes on a game, especially in a game like this. So that's just my point of view. Yeah, everybody should be young and athletic on the floor tonight. I do think we need to run LeBron James to secure the victory, but I would love for his minutes to be cut a little short while AD is out. Buy him some rest, because we suck. We suck right now, man. This team is not worthy for LeBron James being on the floor very much. Run your Rui Hachimura, cater your offense around Rui and Dalton Connect. Max Christie if he has it going. And just play some defense, man. Put your defensive talent on the floor and just stifle a already horrible shooting Wizards team. That's my strategy. I don't really... I've been talking about offense being important, but tonight you could probably hold the Wizards to 89 points if you stifle them with your best defensive players. That's the God's honest truth. They suck, period. They're not good, period. So that's really what it comes down to, and they don't want to win. So, well, I contradict myself, but like in general, they want to lose games. I think they would love to win tonight, but they're, as an organization, do not want to win. So that's my point of view on the Wizards, man. Um, Prayers out to everybody in the district, man. I know what happened yesterday with the plane that crashed, and that was a very tragic situation. So my prayers are with the district and everybody who lost people in that situation there. I understand some figure skaters, if I'm not mistaken, or some gymnasts, I'm not really sure which, lost their lives. So we think about them this morning as we go into Washington. So that's where I'll leave it, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.